back to the talk tonight. We are waiting for the Onondaga County medical examiner's report to determine whether an infant's remains found about 9 hours ago now could be that of the missing Utica baby, Levon Wameling. That is the suspicion amongst law enforcement tonight. And as we begin our talk segment, it's worth noting that Onondaga County has a more sophisticated medical examiner's office for much of upstate and central New York, and that's why the remains were brought here as opposed to other communities who don't have that kind of facility, that kind of expertise. So that's the explanation for that. Michael Benny joins us tonight for the talk, as he does every night at this time. And you know, Megan, we were talking about this for a couple of months now, and people tried to hold out some hope, I think, somehow, but it was always difficult to figure out how this child might still be alive, and we don't know what caused the death yet, or who caused it for sure.
And I think that any parent out there can they have a really hard time wrapping their head around the fact that someone would harm a 9-month-old.
Yeah.
I mean, such an innocent, precious life. A lot of people have been looking at the boy's father, who we know was the last to see him alive. He didn't report it for, what, 2 weeks or so. So there's always been suspicion, and police have called him a person of interest in the case from the very beginning. This is a picture of Levon Wameling.
Yeah, it's also worth pointing out that this father, if you can call him that, couldn't manage to stay out of trouble. He was under the eye of Utica police. We believe the FBI as well, state police likely involved, all of the best minds when it comes to criminal behavior, looking at this one guy for all of these months. He couldn't stay out of trouble. He commits a burglary, we believe, police believe, and that's ultimately what gets him in a room with investigators, and ultimately what probably cracked this case.
Well, we know that the Utica police did say during their news conference today that it was information from the New York State Police that came after Levon Wameling's death, or arrest rather. The Levon thing has not been easy,
No,
but for the father's arrest. And then the police gave that information to the local investigators, who then went to that river or creek today.
And you have to imagine, too, that police are satisfied with the fact that he messed up, that he allegedly committed this burglary. Now they have him behind bars, and they are able to sort of piece this all together, wait for the medical examiner's report to come back, and they're holding him right now in jail. So they have a period of time to do that while they build this case against him.
I do wonder, you know, there's been a few occasions over the last few weeks where the Utica police have given a heads up to the media and said, you know, we're going to be looking related to this case in a wooded area here, a wooded area there, and a couple of times they came up with nothing. And when I first heard of this going on today, I thought, well, this is probably another one of those cases. It makes me wonder, what was the information that was sending him to those other places at that time? Was it a witness of some sort that came forward? Maybe one day we'll know that, and maybe we'll never know the answer to that part.
Yeah, and in as interesting as that backstory is to the case, it won't matter a bit for this child. We will all want to know, and ultimately the medical examiner will be critical in determining what exactly happened to this little boy right before he was put in that container.
You have to imagine, though, it will not be easy for them to conduct this autopsy. The boy's remains have been there, likely, if this is Levon, likely have been there since he was reported missing. Well, he was reported missing in June. He apparently was last seen alive in May.
August, 3 months and change.
They have things going for them, though. I mean, they have the mother's DNA for sure, which they can, you know, is easily accessible. It's not a situation where an infant just somehow washed up in this container and they don't know who it is.
It's not a random
They've got
case,
they've got a lot working in their favor, I think, when it comes to, you know, determining that.
We'll continue to follow this story throughout the night tonight, bring you the very latest. Our conversation continues in